What if I told you that every man who's ever been betrayed, abandoned, or emotionally dismantled by a woman was never truly betrayed by her at all? What if the real force behind that heartbreak was something far older, far deeper, and far more dangerous, an unconscious program buried so far beneath awareness that even she doesn't know it's there? Sigmund Freud, yes, the same Freud whose name is now mostly a punchline in modern pop psychology, spent decades dissecting the female psyche. And what he uncovered was so volatile, so politically inconvenient, that much of it was erased from public discourse. But his private letters, his unedited case notes, they reveal a truth most men are not ready to hear. Women are not fully the authors of their own choices. And when you understand the real mechanism that drives them, you'll never see the same person across the table again. So the question is, do you actually want to see the truth, or are you safer believing the illusion? Picture this. You meet her, smart, self-aware, confident. She looks you in the eye and tells you exactly what she wants. Loyalty, honesty, respect. You believe her. You give her exactly that. And then one day, with no warning, she's gone. Not a fight. Not a reason. Just gone. You're left tearing yourself apart, replaying every moment, asking, what did I miss? Freud would have told you, you didn't miss anything. Because she didn't choose to leave. Her unconscious did. Freud's most dangerous idea wasn't about sex. It wasn't even about childhood trauma. It was about free will, the idea that the vast majority of our behavior is not a conscious choice at all, but the product of an unseen internal machine. For men, Freud estimated that around 90% of their behavior was dictated by this shadow world of repressed desires, imprinted patterns, and primal instincts. For women, he believed it was even more extreme. Why? Because, as Freud argued in his 1925 work, Some Psychical Consequences of the Anatomical Distinction Between the Sexes, women's moral compass, what he called the superego, develops differently than men's, not from guilt, but from shame. Men feel guilt as an internal punishment, a voice that says, I violated my principles. Women feel shame as an external judgment, a fear of being seen, exposed, ostracized. That difference changes everything. Because when your moral code is built on social survival, not inner principle, your decisions aren't anchored to logic or personal ethics. They're tethered to what keeps you safe in the eyes of the tribe. And here's the first crack in the myth. A woman's conscious desires, the words she tells you, are often the opposite of the forces pulling her from underneath. Freud's case studies didn't just suggest this, they screamed it. And the most haunting part? The women in those studies weren't lying. They believed every word they said. But belief and truth are not the same thing. Take the case of Anna O., a young woman treated by Freud's mentor, Joseph Breuer. She suffered from mysterious paralysis, hallucinations, violent mood swings. Under hypnosis, Breuer uncovered repressed memories of her father's illness. Then, as soon as she improved, she turned on him, accusing him of impregnating her, a lie that almost destroyed his career. Breuer never saw it coming. And here's the part that textbooks skip. Her accusation wasn't a calculated plan. It was her unconscious, seizing control, reshaping reality to serve her emotional needs in that moment. This was Freud's early warning. When a woman's unconscious decides, her conscious mind will rewrite history to match it. She'll believe the new version completely and expect you to believe it too. So here's the danger. If her unconscious decides you're no longer the right man for her survival, affection, or excitement, she doesn't just leave. She rewrites the story of who you are. Why do so many men walk into adulthood carrying wounds they can't name? Because their first lessons in love were written by their mothers. If your mother punished you with silence, withheld affection until you obeyed, or made you feel guilty for wanting independence, Freud would say you weren't just raised, you were conditioned. Conditioned to equate emotional manipulation with love. And here's the trap. Your unconscious doesn't grow out of it. As a man, you will gravitate, without knowing, toward women who can replicate that early pattern. Some will control you the way she did. Others will punish you the way she did, and you will accept it because your nervous system believes this is love. In The Dissolution of the Oedipus Complex, Freud wrote that a boy must destroy his maternal attachment to become a man. But most never do. Instead, they seek women who will either recreate their mother's control or punish them for escaping it. And if women themselves aren't in control of the patterns they're repeating, then who Or what is? You're sitting across from her at dinner. She's laughing at your jokes, touching your arm, eyes full of warmth. 3 days later, silence. Nothing you did explains it. Nothing she says makes sense, because the decision wasn't conscious. It was the quiet pull of something older than thought, an internal veto written into her biology. Science now confirms what Freud suspected. A woman's personality, preferences, and attraction shift with the hormonal tides of her menstrual cycle, often without her awareness. During ovulation, more flirtatious, drawn to dominance and risk. During menstruation, more critical, irritable, hypersensitive to perceived weakness. Ask her why she lost interest and she'll invent reasons. We're just not compatible. But the truth, her biology made the call. The Spartans knew this long before science. They forbade husbands from sleeping with their wives during menstruation, not from superstition, but recognition. A bleeding woman is a hostile woman. They managed it instead of moralizing it. This is the biological betrayal code. Her conscious mind may promise forever. Her unconscious body obeys only the law of survival. Freud called the next layer hysterical cognition, the female mind's ability to rewrite history, distort facts, and alter memories to fit an emotional need. In 1905, he treated an 18-year-old named Dora. Her father had been having an affair, offering her as a distraction to his mistress's husband. But Dora didn't rage at her father. She redirected her fury onto Freud himself, quitting therapy mid-treatment, then returning years later only to mock him. Freud saw it again and again. If she can't punish the real offender, her unconscious will choose a substitute, often the nearest man. And if her unconscious needs you to be the villain, you already are. Modern society insists women are free from their instincts. Freud and evolutionary biology say otherwise. In prehistoric tribes, women followed a brutal mating algorithm. Mate with the strongest warrior. Secure resources from the most stable provider. Eliminate the unfit before they could drain her survival chances. This algorithm still runs. You see it in the 3 stages. Idealization, she mirrors you. Testing, she pushes, withdraws. Discard, she goes cold. Even she believes she's making rational choices. But beneath, her body is obeying a 200,000-year-old script. Freud's most controversial claim. A woman has not one sexuality, but 2. The Madonna, the loving, nurturing public self. The animal, the primal, a moral shadow self that emerges in secrecy. The more society tries to suppress it, the more it mutates. Every man knows the woman who can't forget that one guy, the dangerous one, the one who treated her badly. This is the trauma bond. Love forged not in safety, but in the rhythm of reward and pain. A woman addicted to that cycle will interpret stability as emotional flatline. Even women who reject this pattern consciously can still feel its pull. Because the addiction isn't to the man, it's to the chaos he represents. And here's the tragedy. Many women despise themselves for these instincts. They were taught they are equal to men, but also better, kinder, nobler. When they feel the pull toward dominance, cruelty, or rejection, they hate themselves for it. Freud saw it in a radical feminist who married a controlling man. She hated needing his rules, but when he was firm, she felt peace. Her conscious mind wanted equality. Her unconscious craved hierarchy. And the conflict consumed her, and every man close to her. So what's the way out? Freud's private notes hinted at 3 laws, not to control women, but to survive them. The law of paradoxical intent. The more you need her, the less she wants you. Withdraw before she does, and her unconscious will pull her back. The power of the unsaid. Mystery fuels desire, explanations kill it. The shadow self strategy, acknowledge her darkness without fear, and it loses its power over you. They think this is about women. It's not. It's about you, your fear, your weakness, your hope that love will be fair. It won't. The only way to win is to stop playing their game and start playing yours. So now that you see the code, will you use it or pretend you never learned it?